California grow. Yeah. California grow.
I'll ask John.
Welcome. Oh, sorry. We had a little
We're off there
pre-show communication. This is Rough Notes, as you can see right here, and Casual Thoughts. Yes, we have it all. Rough and Casual.
Yeah.
And I'm John Cassidy. I'm
John's
rough, and this
Notes.
is Casual right here. Mr. Bob Fischetti. Everything 93Q Community Radio and Tower Media Empire. It's good to see you, Bob.
Man, it's good to see you. You know
We got
what?
a lot more room here today. You know what
We
I'm saying?
do.
What
It's
happened?
like, I don't know, man. I can spread out. So I can't tell you the last time. I can tell you what we talked about, but I can't tell you the last time we had like lunch together. And I'm sure there's like Cassidy meals everywhere.
Oh, there's a few.
Is there?
There's a few.
Somebody was telling me
We'll have to talk about that in a little while. Yes, absolutely. There's actually more than a few, but that's okay. It's all good. How are you? All good? I feel bad. Chuck Smith's not with us today. Chuck,
I know.
Wherever
Chuck,
you're at,
we're thinking
hope
about
things are
you.
going good. We're thinking about you. Take care of yourself. Take care of that lovely bride, Linda, and we'll see you next week. Chuck, of course, just retired as the editor of the Appeal Democrat with Scott Anderson. He recruited and brought on board as the new editor, and Scott will do a great job.
Great guy. We got a chance to meet him here and introduce him to the community, but he has agreed to come back. So I do question his mental health.
Well, yeah, good call there. Good call there. And for those of you that don't know, the Rough Notes and Casual Thoughts theme, let me get out of the way of the thoughts. Rough Notes and Casual Thoughts theme comes from a pretty much 100-year-old column in the Appeal Democrat newspaper.
Wow.
That's been around, and Chuck Smith, as editor, kind of rekindled it and fired it back up in a big way. It's kind of the Herb Cain, if for those of you who were used to read the Chronicle, when it had a green sheet. I think it has a green sheet again. But anyway, Herb Cain was a famous columnist there, Warren Hinkle. There's a whole bunch of them, but kind of the stuff that goes on in a community that you don't see in the news every day, but is important, historical stuff, whatever. Community events, those kind of things. That's what we cover here, and we have some fun with it. And Chuck rekindling it. This is the radio version of Rough Notes and Casual Thoughts. And Scott Anderson, the new editor of the Appeal Democrat, who Bob and I and Kurt have gotten to know, and Chuck, obviously, in the transition with the editorial duties at the newspaper. Good guy, and he's very excited about what's going on in the Yuba Sutter Colusa community, and he'll be joining us on a regular basis as well. So that's good.
Yeah, we'll get to find out what's new in the news. What's going on in the news. We live in such a great community, and there's so many different. Anyway, I'm going to make a
one
point
of the
here.
fastest growing communities actually in California. Hard to believe.
This community helps each other.
Yeah,
they reach out, man. They'll help each other, and so we realize that Chuck's retiring, and so with Scott coming in, we want to help him. We want to support him.
Absolutely,
right? Support our local newspaper and support our local restaurants. Which, by the way, one of them. The Brick Coffee House and Cafe, they sponsor this show, as well as Cassidy and Associates.
John Cassidy and Associates.
Okay, now, I have to ask this.
Yeah, here we go.
Right?
Yeah, I know this is coming. Yeah.
What does it take to be a John Cassidy associate?
Well, one's my wife, and there's only one of those. Thank God for that.
That spot's already taken.
Thank you.
That spot's taken. He's not.
But no, I got my broadcast crew. I got Harold Presley, who, by the way, was one of the creators, one of the facilitators, one of the March Madness storied athletes when Villanova upset Georgetown in 1985. Won the national championship against all odds. They beat Patrick Ewing, Sleepy Floyd, that whole group, Michael Graham. And that was really the genesis of March Madness when it went from 32 to 64 teams. You had Chris Mullen playing at St. John's. You had all those great players at Syracuse, Rony Seikaly, Pearl Washington. Who else am I leaving? There's just so much going on with the Big East, Georgetown, St. John's, UConn, Villanova. I know I'm leaving somebody out. Boston College had Michael Adams. I mean, it was just incredible basketball that ESPN gravitated to and really propped up. And then all of a sudden, kaboom, the March Madness you see today, not only on the men's college basketball side, but on the women's college basketball side. Speaking of, they played in Sacramento at Golden One this past weekend. In fact, my daughter Shannon, who played at Yuba City High School, and we won a couple titles there with them. Her group, a lot of those kids went down and watched Duke beat LSU with a 3-point shot at the buzzer. Under pressure.
I love that.
Unbelievable.
Last second.
Oh, they were
yeah.
going nuts. And but yeah, they had a full house down there for the women's tournament. Congrats to the Sacramento Kings organization for hosting all that down there at the Golden One Center. And yeah, so we've got a lot. Yeah, so that's one of my associates is Mr. Harold Presley.
He is genuinely Harold Presley. When I first met him,
all 6'12" of him.
yeah, I was at an event and they introduced me to him, and I didn't know who he was. I didn't. I hate to say it, but my wife knew who he was. So I asked Harold. So Patty was on the phone. She had to tell me who Harold Presley was, right? And so Harold's standing there, and I said, "Hey, would you say hello to my wife?" Now, in true gentleman form that Harold Presley is, he held a little conversation with Patty. What a nice guy, man. Just like, he wasn't like,
Oh,
I
no.
got time. Just awesome dude.
Absolute class act, and one of the most beloved Sacramento Kings of all time. First round pick in 1986. They had some tough years when he was there, but he came through it pretty well. And but yeah, I mean, Harold, you can't go get a beer at a Kings game with him because you'll never get back to your seat. You just won't. I mean, it's just amazing. He finished his career there in 91, 92. He's still one of the most beloved players ever to put on a Kings uniform. He's done so much for the communities, and he had Hardwood Palace down in Rockland for years, where all the AAU basketball blew up in Northern California and just continues to grow to this day. So Scott Marsh is also an affiliate or an associate. Scott's on Sacktown Sports 1140, one of their sales execs, as well as doing pregame, postgame for the Sacramento Kings, co-hosting radio shows. He's the voice of the UC Davis football and basketball teams on the radio on Sacktown Sports 1140. And then
Gotta love radio guys.
Oh yeah, and then we got Gary Gelfand from Fox 40. Gary Gelfand,
and
Fox
TV
40
guys.
Yeah. Well, Gary Gelfand, a legendary, was at CNN and had been at Fox 40 for many, many years, and is a Sacramento broadcast
He
icon.
was at CNN.
Yeah,
we
back when
won't
it was
hold that
actually
against it.
back when it
Oh,
was
you mean when it was a real
back when it was actually news.
I
Yeah,
remember way back when he was on Channel 31.
that's correct.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he had all of his hair.
Oh, that's scary. I'll tell Gary. You scared him, by the way, the other day when you walked into his studio with a kilt on. You
Yeah,
freaked
I got
him
to
out.
go on his show for a change.
Yeah, that's right. You scared
I
him.
helped out hooligans.
That's right.
For their St. Patrick's
Yeah,
Day
they did a
thing.
great
They
job.
needed
Paulie did a great job.
They needed some background, so
Absolutely,
I was in the background.
He's doing Irish bagpipes in a Scottish skirt. Still can't get over that. I'll never get over that, Kurt. But yeah, so those are my associates. I've got some military guys that are associates. I've got Festus Azili does some stuff, work with Festus.
Oh yeah.
We do some stuff with different corporations around the country.
So it's just the people that you connect with, because I always saw. I said,
There's a lot of-
Cassie associates. So who's the associates, right? It's like, because you know John, you don't think about. Oh yeah, these are like his buds, right? Yeah,
no,
good stuff.
There's
It
some
sounds
talented
better
people.
than John Cassidy and my buds.
There you go. Takes on a different connotation. It's either beer or pot, right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
John and his buds. It's
Can
a
you
whole
believe
new corporation.
Anheuser-Busch on 80 is going away?
What?
Yeah, we're not going to have
that's
an
right, I heard
Anheuser-Busch
that, yeah.
brewery, and that thing's been there for like 90 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a shame. I grew up in St. Louis. I'm telling you, there's nothing like beginning of baseball season when they run the Clydesdales.
Oh,
out.
sure, absolutely.
Oh man, the whole crowd stands.
Well,
it's the Clydesdales.
it's interesting you say that, because in Cincinnati, the schools close for opening day. They'll have 300,000 people downtown welcoming the team into the stadium. They literally close the schools. It's
That's
a
the way it should
holiday.
be. That's
Yeah,
the
it
way
is.
should be.
Opening day should be a holiday. I agree. I
Patty-
don't know if they're smoking buds or drinking buds, the kids, but that's what's going on in the street. They're welcoming the new season, and they do it in a big way. I think it's awesome.
So
Smart as
Patty
heck.
just texted me and said, "Stop banging on the table."
Who did?
Patty. She can hear. She's listening to the radio.
Sorry, Patty.
See, I
It's-
don't know what we can do about that. Talk to Lonnie, but if you
No.
can't help it. You just
And
right.
that's my job to
Thank
direct
you, Patty.
guys, and
Ah,
I just drop
thanks,
the ball.
Patty.
Yeah, you
thanks,
dropped
Patty.
it. It's Kurt's fault. Yeah, bring Patty on. Kurt's fired. It's that easy. Crazy. Crazy stuff. So I did get a chance to read Chuck's column this week. In fact, they moved. I don't know. Chuck's moving out, but his column's moving up pages on the Saturday edition, which is the weekender edition of the Appeal Democrat, which I thought was kind of interesting. And by the way, Star Amato has been over there a long time. She's the nonprofit manager over there and does a great job also with ads and everything. She's been there I think she's been there probably longer than anybody now. Star's a good lady. She knows where all the bodies are buried at the Appeal Democrat if you want to talk to her. But kind of an interesting side note, if you get a chance to read Rough Notes and Casual Thoughts this week, there was some comments about the new editor, Scott Anderson, who was an investigative reporter and a criminal reporter. He reported on a lot of pretty big crimes that took place in this country, in this state, and he wrote I believe he has a book or a couple books that he's written, or very lengthy articles on some pretty serious criminal investigations that have taken place in this state. Very interesting. But that kind of prompted Chuck. As you know, Chuck is kind of the Yuba Sutter Colusa historian, as well as many other talents. But he brought up the Juan Corona situation that happened many years ago, and talked about how that emanated and how that whole case came about, what it was about, and what the legal wrangling was all about. And there's a lot of books that were written on that. And there's an article or a writer, Tracy Kidder, who won a Pulitzer for a couple different books, but he wrote the definitive work on the whole Juan Corona debacle. For those of you that are new to Yuba Sutter Colusa, he was in fact, by the way, he and his brother at one point owned the Silver Dollar Saloon for a short period of time. But those guys, they ended up finding 25 bodies. Is that right, Kurt? Up in off of Highway 99 there, north of Yuba City. And they were all kind of farm workers.
And, they were buried in an orchard.
Buried in an orchard, yeah. And anyway, they basically killed these people for their money and used them. And then Corona went into prison. He died a few years ago in San Quentin, I believe, is where he finally passed away. But he was in prison for murder. His brother, I believe, escaped to Mexico. They never found him again, right? Never got him back. It was pretty gruesome situation. But it's funny because God bless his soul, God rest his soul, Sheriff Tyndall, who was here as a sheriff for many years, he was on his first gig in the sheriff's department as the night watchman at the jail, because they didn't house Corona in the jail in Sutter County. They housed him in Yuba County for his own protection, because it was easy. It was I guess a more fortified jail at least at the time. Anyway, Corona was acting like he was having a heart attack, and Gary just wasn't buying it, and so finally Gary threw him a couple of aspirin, and he was having a heart attack. And if Gary hadn't thrown him the aspirin, he probably wouldn't have made it that night and would have saved the state of California millions of dollars. So I always gave Gary a bad time about that. He almost got it right, but anyway. So a lot of crazy history there. By the way, big shout out to Yuba College, and full disclosure, I am on the board of trustees. On Monday they had 770 8th grade girls from Yuba and Sutter counties take part in the 40th AAUW STEM conference, and it was held at Yuba College. And congratulations to Tawny Dotson, the president, out there, and for the whole team that continues to grow educational opportunities for our local students, and in this case, obviously a lot of females, because STEM is a place where you want to focus. If you're in college, if you want to get a real job and make real money when you get out, and there's so much going on with AI and so much in the technology space, and Yuba College facilitating. Yuba College is having record growth in students, by the way, and a lot of good things going on out there. But I know you're always excited about how education helps our young people, and you've been involved in many different ways.
Yeah, and I keep telling. This is what I told my boys when they were graduating high school. I said, you get 3 choices, right? You can go to college, you can go in the military, or you can just go get a job. But you're not going to just sit around here. That ain't going to happen.
Right.
And so my oldest boy said, well, I want to work at this place. He had a place he wanted to work at, so he went to work, and then later he went to college.
Yeah, it's all
right?
good. Sure.
And it was like I didn't care as long as they. And of course, my youngest boy went to work at the airport. Works for Southwest. I fly free. So I'm so proud of him. I can't stand it. And actually, my oldest boy worked at Southwest first, and but they both have worked out there. But yeah, I love the college. I love junior college. I tell people all the time, look, when you first go to college, unless you have a piercing focus, don't go to some big school just because you want to say you went to that school.
Correct.
Know what you're wanting to study and find out what school offers that. But in the meantime, go get your general ed and transferable units at a junior college.
Correct.
You know, and
no.
plus you can live at home. It's cheaper on your parents.
Oh yeah, well, I left the Bay Area to come up to go to Butte Junior College because I wanted to get out of the Bay Area and wanted to try to continue to play basketball. And there was, it's really a great fit. And you know, you work your way through school while you're going to school. You work, and I still think that's more than doable in this day and age with the cost of education.
I do too.
Is really, really incredible. By the way, another great event coming up, the 25th of April, and one of Thea posts, I think it's the either 91 or 2001, I got to double check, but the one of her volleyball teams that, Thea's a legend, her mom was a legendary coach there, both of them were there for 30 plus years. Mom followed daughter, and just the winningest volleyball program in the state, and one of their teams is going to the Hall of Fame. Some great, a couple basketball players are going in. That's April 25th at Yuba College. If you're interested, call the college for tickets. You can call the athletic director, Eric Burns' department, and they'll get you some tickets. And it's really fun, really great event. The history of Yuba College athletics always gets showcased in that. And I've emceed pretty much every one of those for, I think, now the 26th year, something like that. And it's been a lot of fun. Put a lot of athletes in the Yuba College Athletic Hall of Fame. And there's some incredible stories, some motivating stories, kind of like what you're saying, people finding their path. And through athletics being one of the anchors for folks that helps get them started.
Well, you told that story of, now I'm trying to think of his name. He did Festus.
Oh, Festus, yeah.
Told the story about how he wasn't even playing basketball. He was like doing the film for it.
Correct.
Right?
Well, he went there. He went there to get his lab stuff done because he's like that 5.0 student. He's a genius, but his uncle pretty much talked to him. Said, "Look, just go to junior college, get a couple of." Sorry, I'll stop banging. Thank you. Get a couple of get your lab stuff done. He wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And then he grew from 6'5.5" to 6'11.5", and rumor has it there's a 7-footer walking around the college, and being a smart basketball coach, Doug Cornelius goes, "Well, I can't teach height." And went and found him, got him into the gym, and did some agility stuff, and they gray shirted him for 1 year, and the rest is history. On to an NBA career, and doing fabulous things on NBC Sports Bay Area as the Warriors' preeminent spokesperson in their pregame, halftime, and postgame shows, as well as his Festus Feasts programming that's blowing up. He's got 1 million followers, close to 1 million followers on social media now, and he's just killing it. Doing a great job. By the way, I brought up the STEM thing, and this was in the Appeal Democrat this week. Speaking of casual thoughts, Apple turned 50 this week. Wow. 50 years old. $3.5 trillion market cap value. And two guys in a garage, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. Wozniak's still alive. In fact, High Point University is one of his big projects. They won that upset, that first game in the NCAA tournament this year. High Point University, I believe it's in Georgia. Anyway, first year, I think, Division I NCAA tournament team. Anyway, in January of 1978.
That's amazing. You never know. You start something, you never know.
It's crazy.
I could end up being a trillionaire.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not 78. Excuse me. That wouldn't be correct. But they started it in 1976, April 1st, 1976. That's a picture of Jobs and Wozniak. I think with the Apple IIe, the guts of it there, where they showed off. But yeah, they changed the world.
Well,
literally changed the world. The Apple IIe, and then what was the next one? They had the 2 or 3 iterations of their. They had a little odd-looking.
Yeah,
kind
the
of
little cube
server
thing. Yeah.
So, but oh yeah, they changed the world, and their graphics, as Linda Plummer, if she was here, would tell you, that were just amazing for graphic artists and graphics people that did any kind of work.
Well, it's just hard to believe that we've had personal computers for 50 years, half a century.
Yeah.
Where'd the rotary phones go? Anybody know? Kind of miss the rotary phones. You know what I mean?
I remember I got my degree from Denver College, and the president of the college, I was out there visiting him, and he had a car phone, and I was like, a car phone,
The big ones,
thing
right?
was huge.
Oh, yeah.
it was like I said, and the expense.
Oh,
of
it's
having
insane,
one of those,
insane.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Insane.
Back then, it was like $2,500 a month. It was
Well, they were in
crazy.
a bag at first, right? They were kind of a bag phone, right?
Yes, you could carry it. Yeah.
yeah.
Then they had to connect with an operator, didn't they? Before
Yes.
and have the operator
Yeah.
put the call. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just pick up your phone and dial and.
Well, then the BMWs and the Mercedes were the first ones to have them embedded, and then you'd hit the buttons that would be between the seats.
Yeah, I remember the show Vegas. Dan Tana.
Dan
he
Tana had one.
one.
There you go. Yeah.
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 Car
we-
phone.
you
He
know, we
needed
think-
one before he shot somebody and one after he shot somebody because he had to call the ambulance, right? Yeah. That's pretty good. So, yeah, for those of you that have been around long, and I'm still kicking myself because, and Tara Pruce, who's got, been an investment rep here in this community for many, many years, and I hired her, heck, it might have been 40-some years ago. Oh, yeah,
Wow.
about 40-some years ago. And I remember her trying to talk me into buying Apple stock. And I'm going, well, it's probably going to do okay. Yeah, it did okay.
Yeah,
I didn't do okay because I didn't buy it at the time, but
Yeah, they
she
said
did.
that
She
about-
did very well with it. So
They said that when television first came out too. Yeah, it's okay. It'll be.
yeah,
around
it'll
for a
be
couple-
all right. Yeah, it might make it.
Well, you know how many cheerleaders are kicking themselves in the backside because they didn't date Steve Jobs because he was a nerd working in his garage, and so now they're like,
Steve Jobs is
darn, I
quite an interesting fellow. Not the easiest guy to work with. I had friends that negotiated when computers really started getting into the mainstream. There was a company called Computerland, and one of my best friends was one of their senior execs, and they were like the first retail outlet for computers. And you could go in there and look at IBM 2s, I think IBM 1s, Apple's, Eagle computers they'd had for a while. What was the other ones? I forget. There was 4 or 5 that they had, but they were basically a retail store for computers. You go in there and you could play on them, and they'd sell you one there. And I remember the discs, with the floppy discs
Floppy
and all that
disks.
stuff. But yeah, he wasn't the easiest guy to work with. He was hard on his employees, hard on his vendors, people that try to help him. He was an interesting cat, but he was very bright. If it wasn't for Wozniak, I don't think they would have made it because Wozniak knew how to monetize the
Well,
the
that's
product.
the balance.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. You have
Yep.
to have somebody that balances
Yep.
that other side.
Yep.
Otherwise, I
Right.
mean, that's a great story, though. You think, who would have thought that they would end up at a $1 trillion company?
Correct.
You just don't think. It was like when IBM said, we're going to keep the hardware
Right.
and let Microsoft take the software.
Right.
Oh, that was, yeah.
Kiss of death.
Yeah, whoever that executive was with IBM,
He's working at 7-Eleven in down by the Grapevine somewhere.
he's selling Slurpees.
There you go.
And it's like, yeah.
There you go. So, okay, another casual thought, and this isn't so. It's been a rough ride, rough note. Finally, Calusa's hotly debated Sites Reservoir proposal
Yes.
passes another hurdle for approval. Now, there's a lot of money behind Sites now, a lot of reality. Even the governor's behind it, but there's still some groups out there. They're going to fight this thing because that's just what they do. I think this will. It's a $6.8 billion project, and I think it's about a little less than half the size of Orville, which would make it, I believe, the 3rd largest reservoir in the state. So, and it's if you go through Calusa, hit I-5, go west of I-5 up there, it's in that quadrant on the west side of 5. Up into the hills there, and it's kind of a natural setting for a dam. And then they'll pump the water in high water years from the Sacramento River up into it to
Oh.
keep it filled. So instead of it being flushed out into the bay, It will be held for use for the state of California citizenry and farmers and what have you.
You would think after the significant number of drought years that California has had, there'd be no opposition,
You would think.
right? Because I mean, this is good for everybody.
So
guys,
the state, the last dam that the state of California built, that the state built. There's been some small regional ones, but the last one the state built was 30 million people ago. So think about
Wow.
that. Yes, that's a fact. So this is, way long overdue. In fact, the interesting thing is this dam, Sites Reservoir, was actually designed, developed, and approved by the state of California in the 40s. I believe 1945.
Wow.
But it was never funded. Kind of like the Marysville Dam. Like if you look at Parks Bar, you go over that bridge in that area there. Obviously, the Auburn Dam, the most famous one that's been, because there's so much growth in Placer County, that's still a political football. But the Marysville Dam was the last bucket in that chain that was supposed to be built. And that's one of the reasons you probably would have avoided 86 and 97 if that had been built. That's another one that was approved but never funded.
Yeah.
So, it's just amazing some of the history with that stuff. Crazy. So this was interesting in the Appeal Democrat this week. A Butte County woman this was yesterday, just defeated the world's richest tech companies in court because of the algorithms and the addictive nature.
Yep.
What do you think of all that, Bob?
Well, I think it's true. I mean, they already knew that if you get on this phone all the time, they have figured out that you will inadvertently, habitually start picking it up.
Like banging the table?
Yeah, kind of like banging the table. But the other thing is then what's on it, right? And so they have figured out the psychology of people watching it. So to me, that is intellectually intrusive, right? You are intruding on somebody.
So what social media do you actively look at?
Facebook, just because that's what we use for the station.
And Kurt, what do you look at?
Facebook and YouTube.
So you do look at YouTube. Okay, so you consider YouTube a social media platform, but YouTube's not an engaging one. It's just where you go to get content, right?
You just watch it.
You're not going to hear other people's opinions.
It's like
on
TV
YouTube.
on demand.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
like 93Q TV on YouTube.
There you go. And we're 5 minutes from the most important moment of the show.
Just do it now. KETQ 93.3 LPFM, Yuba City. There's our legal
I love
ID.
it.
Go.
I love it. And by the way, those of you getting back to the John Cassie Associates Group, we are working again. We've teased it a few times. We're just working out some details to get the Sports Roundtable back on the air, both on 93Q, Sacktown Sports 1140, 93Q YouTube channel, and some other places. And we're going to make that thing rock. So stay tuned the next few weeks. Hopefully, we'll get all that out there in the community for people to enjoy. So also another good piece of news in the paper. Oh, by the way, I use Facebook. And I use Facebook to record history. I don't engage people, even though I'll make comments about certain things that are going on, because it's a remarkable tool to go back and look at what you actually posted and see kind of where history is, where you were right about what you saw, or where this particular post was accurate or inaccurate. And it does leave a timeline legacy of what you were focused on or what you thought was important to post about, and so on. So I use it to record history. People get the wrong idea because I'll post a lot of stuff in my particular case, there's been so much more going on in the world in the last 3 or 4, I would say 2 years dramatically, but the last 3 or 4 years, the amount of information that's flowing. And I know there's a lot of clickbait, which people have to be really careful of.
Yeah.
But if you do your homework on your news sources, you can get rid of 99% of the garbage and really post what's really going on, and then watch it through time and how it evolves. So the thing I'm most focused on these days is what's going on in Iran, because I still believe it's the most important geopolitical event of our lifetimes since World War II.
I do too.
For so many different reasons, and I think they're starting to come to light. And the herd mentality in Wall Street will calm down, and I believe once this all gets, parsed out, if you will, and there's a new regime, which there will be, and hopefully when favorable, I believe it will be favorable to Western values, that the world's going to calm down, terrorism's going to pretty much be bottled up, and good things are going to happen economically for the entire world and the United States, and no one's going to have to worry about a cruise missile or a nuclear bomb coming at them. So if you're not following that story, I'd recommend 2C TV. Speaking of internet, interesting story. He's been on the air about 6 months with that TV network he started on. You can get on YouTube, or you can go right to the 2C TV site. But he's a geopolitical expert out of London who's actually an Iranian. His parents live in Iran. They're stuck there. He's Iranian born. But he does a really good job of kind of setting the table for what's going on. He's got a lot of unparalleled contacts inside Iran, and he's explaining what's going on. But there's close to 100 million people in Iran. That's
by the way,
a big country.
That page for him is TUCI, right?
TOUSI.
TOUSI.
2C TV.
Yeah, because
Here's the interesting thing. You want to know the power of media, and when you do come across as accurate, what can happen. So he's been on the air about 6 months. He's got 1,539,000 subscribers at $5 a month. Do the math.
Yeah, we got 5 subscribers to the Rough Notes and Casual
good.
Thoughts. None of them giving $5 a month. John and I could have lunch somewhere.
Oh, by the
We
way,
have 2 people watching us on Facebook right now.
I love it.
Well, thank you
That's
for
all
those
2 of them?
viewers.
Is that our wives? Probably.
Probably. Our associates. John.
It's John's
our
associates. We got them on there. So Yuba City wins the rivalry opener between River Valley and Yuba City, 14-4, and I believe there's 2 more games this week. Yuba City versus Marysville. You want to follow that? That's going to be. Those are 2 great baseball programs. The one thing we have in this community is we are a baseball community. You got the Freebirds
baseball.
coming up in May, and they're right here. And by the way, Todd's radio show is great. I saw you guys the other day, and he's killing it.
He's the announcer for that. So
He is phenomenal.
Having him do the sports show was just. I do want to mention this. They've got, I think it's called TrackMan that they use so that anyway, they're going to do 2 things this year. One is they've added additional cameras, 2 of which have AI to follow the ball.
Love it.
Right. The other thing is now they're going to keep the umpire, so don't go south on them. But they are electronically now, and they're testing it for Major League Baseball because they're an affiliate, where the umpire is going to have an earbud, so that AI is going to call balls and strikes.
I love it.
A whole new realm, buddy. Whole new realm. So-
If you want to see the future of Major League Baseball, go watch the Freebirds.
Yeah.
That's their MLB affiliate, and they get to experiment with all this cool stuff.
Oh, it's fun.
Is the
just
dog
fun.
back? The bat dog?
Oh, I don't know.
I hope so. Love the bat
yeah,
dog.
Yeah. I will tell you this: September 3rd, right? 9/3. Guess who's going to be sponsoring the High Wheelers that night? 9/3.
I like it.
Take a guess.
9-3. Good call.
93.
That's going to be easy to remember.
Yeah,
So are you
yeah.
buying all the beer?
Yeah. Well, no, just for my friends.
Your associates. Just
My
for your associates.
Yeah,
There you go.
just buy my associates.
So, Yuba River Endowment, front page story. I believe it was Tuesday. And this is really great news for TIP. The trauma intervention program, we've mentioned it a few
Yeah.
times, and my event concert series the last few years has donated significant money as well. But the Yuba River Endowment unanimously approved $11,120 grant to TIP. Lisa Marie does a great job with that program. All the volunteers are incredible. If you've ever been to the scene of a car accident or a tragic event, these folks step in when all the first responders have to leave and go back to work to help the victims' families get through some of the turmoil. It's a pretty dramatic. It's
They're
an incredible
well-trained.
group. Oh,
They're well trained. They know
Yep.
what they're doing, and they just bring a calm. I've actually been in a situation with them. They bring a calm that is just amazing.
Yep.
They are very focused, very well trained.
yep.
And one last thing, most small cities, and we are really a small city, they don't have TIP. These are usually in large metropolitan areas, so we need to be very grateful that we have the trauma intervention.
We are incredibly fortunate to
Mm-hmm.
have that group here, and it's growing. And if you want to go to an event next year, go to the annual gala fundraiser that they do. It's a fun event, but you will appreciate this community, I think it's the most moving event that I attend every year, and I got to MC it the last few years. It's remarkable, the stories and what the impact that our first responders have, from the emergency departments in our local Adventist Health Rideout Hospital to police officers, firemen, nurses, you name it. People that respond to crisis situations, they do a phenomenal job. Lastly, for bike enthusiasts, this was in the paper this week as well. Yuba City taking the concept of functional art to the next level. So Yuba Sutter Rotary nightclub, they donated 2 eye-catching sculptures that double as bike racks for the city. So that's pretty cool. Gotta love that.
Yeah, I don't ride a bike anymore, right? But I do like bike riding, and if you think about it, now they have electric bikes.
Oh,
so
those
you
things-
don't even have to pedal. Just get on that thing. I see
I'll tell you
them going down
what.
the road. I'm like, that's a great idea.
It is, but man, I'll tell you what. I think there's going to be a reckoning of some regulations coming down on those things. I mean, I've seen kids flying around those things, no
Yeah.
helmets,
Yeah.
and I mean, those things will go 35, 40 miles an hour.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Same with the scooters. They're
I don't
fast.
even think
People
you have
don't
to
realize
I
it.
don't think you have to have a license for them, or
No.
you just get on them and go.
So
I
yeah,
remember back in the day, my dad had a moped. Remember the moped?
I remember the mopeds. Oh yeah,
And all you needed was a learner's permit to be able to ride it on the street.
but not these. These are bikes with
Yeah.
motors, electric motors.
I have to tell you this. I was 15. I had a Cushman Eagle motor.
I remember
scooter.
those.
I had a Cushman. It was
Hey.
nice, right? And
My dad
I
had a
was
Lamborghini.
working, so I rode it to work down the highways and everything. But you didn't have to have a license.
We were in San Francisco this past week. My sister had some heart surgery stuff done at UCSF, and it's still to this day the little Italian motorcycles that they ride around, especially in the medical group. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny. They'll park them everywhere because there's nowhere to park in the city. I mean, it's brutal. But those little motorcycles, you see, the smart cars, there's still a few there. It's funny because we were talking to one of the Uber drivers when we were there, and I made the comment as we're driving across town down, I forget what street it was, maybe it was Pacific or whatever. I mean, it was just narrow as heck. And you could barely get one car down the street, right?
Yeah.
And I said, well, this city was littered with Volkswagen Bugs.
Yeah.
And you could smell the clutches.
Yeah.
As a kid, you could smell the clutches being burned up and down. All they had the Triumphs, they had the Carmen Gias, all the smallest of the small. But the Bugs were popular because you could park them anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And parking is just
Bill
insane.
Cosby had on one of his albums. He had a comic routine he did about Volkswagen. He said it was the first time he had learned to do that. So he was up on the hill and he kept stalling it, trying. So he stuck his hand out and said, go around, right? Pretty soon he said there was 5 Volkswagens, all of them going, go around. I believe it.
I love it. So, folks, make sure you check out the Hard Rock website. Some incredible shows coming up. We're going to try to have Nate Smith on next week. I'll make a call and see if we can get him.
All right, we want to mention
mentioned
our
the Brick,
sponsor,
Kim
the
Mann,
Brick.
and their team.
Thank
Kim
you.
Mann.
Kimberly
Mata.
Mata.
Wake up, John. Don't get old, Kimberly. Anyway, the
Kimberly.
food there is great. The Cassidy Scramble's still on the computer menu. Ask them for it. But I've gravitated to the avocado toast so often. It's just so ridiculously good.
I know.
So amazing. By the way, congratulations to New Earth Market. 15-year anniversary Saturday. I was there.
Wow.
They must have had 200 vendors in the store, 1,000 people in there. It was just packed. If you have not been to New Earth Market, you're missing the boat. It's so nice, so much fun. It's behind Bel Air over there off Tharp Road. It's incredible.
When
And
I worked over on that side, when we had Mother Goose, we used to go there for lunch.
Oh,
'cause
it's great.
I could get the salad. I could get a really nice salad with what I wanted. Right? You put what you want in it. It's
Exactly.
like make your own
That's a big
salad.
deal.
And it was like, oh gosh.
That's a
yeah.
big deal. That is a big deal. Other than that, anything else coming up this way? Yeah, but make sure you check out Hard Rock Live's website. America was announced. You want to get to see America, Earth, Wind, and Fire. There's so many great shows coming up. Great comedian shows. Tim Allen's coming back. America's coming back. Nate Smith will be phenomenal. We'll get some information out on the event in the
Leonid
next few
and
weeks.
Friends is going to be
Oh.
there in November, and
Say that again.
Leonid.
and Friends,
Anyway, this group, I've seen them at the Crest. They absolutely. You've heard of cover bands? Well, they cover horn music. So I don't care if it's Tower of Power, Earth,
They're
Wind and
unbelievable.
Fire. They cover Ides of March's Vehicle.
Well, they play all over the world.
Chicago.
Yeah.
and they have just become phenomenal. They have added a couple of gal singers.
Good.
So boy, they've branched out. Now they're doing stuff, but well worth seeing. I
Love
will
it.
be there in November.
Love it. Love it. Anything else, Kurt, you want to add today?
Well, Artemis 2 is launching today.
Oh,
They're gonna
that's
send
right.
4 astronauts.
If did the weather cooperate? Because that's going off at 1 o'clock Eastern time, so that's 10 o'clock our time right now.
Actually, it's later on today.
Oh, they
I
moved
think
it.
it'll be about 3:30 our time.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're going to be able to watch history.
Now they're going to the
again.
dark side of the moon, right?
Oh yeah, they're going further from the Earth than any other.
So what album was
Wow.
Dark Side of the Moon? Was that
Pink Floyd.
Pink
Floyd,
Floyd? That's
yeah.
what I thought. Yeah.
But
that's
Great
right.
album.
Yeah.
But yeah, you and I, all of us got to get to see history again because we were around when the Apollo mission.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So-
were at Camp Mather in Yosemite,
Yeah.
and they had a 9-inch black and white TV, and there must have been 1,000 people
Yeah.
covered around this little cafeteria bar thing they had there, and oh yeah, black and white. That was black and white TV. People have no idea how far we've come.
Sometimes I think about that. You know, I grew up in one of the most amazing eras,
Right.
Yeah.
to be alive because of the inventions that happened over the period of time. I mean, we've gone from
went from
phones on the wall, right, to
We went from vacuum tubes to transistors
correct.
to
Yeah.
integrated circuits, and who knows what they're
Correct.
at now.
I've gone from my Etch-a-Sketch to my iPad right here. And most people say, John, you should probably stay with the Etch-a-Sketch. Yeah.
And what's funny is watching a teenager try and figure out a cassette tape, and
Yeah.
they can't figure out a cassette tape.
Yeah.
And that was our technology.
I love the 8-tracks when you pulled them out of your car to take them inside so no one got in, and then the tape was
still strung.
still stuck in the 8-track. People have no idea how hard we had it.
Yeah, we just had
even
we had it rough.
cassettes, you'd see them strung out
Oh,
down
yeah.
the side of the road.
People
right?
would chuck them out the window after
yeah, or
Oh,
just
yeah.
hold them till all the
Oh,
tape
yeah.
went out, right?
Oh, boy. Yes. All right. That's going to do
Well-
it, I think. Anything else, Bob?
Well, just one last thing. You know, John, I very rarely compliment you publicly.
No, here we
But
go.
you are one of the most intelligent men that I have ever met in my life. And with that, I just want to say, April Fools.
Oh.
I was waiting for something
Oh,
like
you knew it was coming. And he just gutted me right there. Just like, what's he saying?
So
and
how do those-
stunned, and then kaboom.
that. How do
I
those
didn't say
wheels
it
feel
about
on the
Chuck.
bus?
Well, with that note, everyone, make sure you fool somebody today because I just got fooled.
Yeah.
Have a great week. We will see you again next Wednesday. Chuck Smith, we missed you. We'll see you
Yeah.
again soon, and hopefully Scott Anderson starts joining us. And this has been Rough Notes and Casual Thoughts right there behind me.
The radio version.
The radio version. Thank you very much. Kurt, thank you. Bob Fischetti, John Cassidy. We'll see you again next time.